You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Cushions and carpets, the New York nightmare. Daniel Bates in the Daily Mail writes, Prince Harry and Harry's wife's team requested cushions or cushions, new carpet, and outdoor space to film Harlem elementary students for their Netflix documentary during 2021 New York visit. It's not just narcissists that can bring up the past, but of course, it can be achieved through newspapers as well, as the Mail has clearly been investigating the circumstances of the faux royal tour that took place in September 2021 when Chairman Mao visited New York and the bouncing berry of Harlem was seen. They have been unearthing information about what went on and are all too content to share this with the readership. Emails obtained by dailymail.com show Harry and Harry's wife's representatives raised the idea of new cushions and a carpet for their September 2021 visit to PS 123 in Harlem. The files reveal the press release for their event went through multiple rounds of editing to ensure their visit seemed more substantial and less promotion-y. Archwell staff also distributed consent release forms for students and faculty that allowed them to film the event for their Shitflix docuseries. Is it about the charity? My backside it is. Once again, Harry's wife demonstrating the absence of emotional empathy by the exploitation of children to make her look good. You know that she's pretty low in this regard. After all, she was the ghoul that turned up at Uvalde, and therefore it's no surprise to find that she's quite content to exploit children for the purposes of her Shitflix documentary and to make her appear like she cares. In actual fact, she's using children from a poverty-stricken background to pursue, once again, the prime aims. Controlling them, controlling the viewership by making it look like she cares, drawing fuel from people's reaction to this, obtaining facade management, which then is a residual benefit. Once again, all of her behaviours are prominent in that regard. Some people may well be disgusted by what she has done, exploiting children in this regard, and also the stage management that goes with it. But I suspect many of you will be unsurprised by it. Newly released emails have unveiled the extraordinary lengths Prince Harry and Harry's wife's team went to pull off the couple's high-profile visit to New York City in 2021. The files, obtained by dailymail.com via a Freedom of Information request, show how the Sussex's high-powered aides had pulled strings behind the scenes to ensure they were presented in a positive light during a series of public appearances that were filmed for their $100 million Shitflix documentary. For one of the stops in their 3-day tour, representatives for Harry and Harry's wife raised the idea of bringing cushions and a new carpet to a public school in one of New York's low-income areas to better fit with Harry's wife's aesthetic. The audacity of the woman to decide, I'm going to make you look better, so I look better. You have to fit in with my aesthetic. Lack of boundary recognition, absence of emotional empathy. The emails show Archwell staff had a say in which school they would visit, went through multiple edits of press releases to make their appearance sound more substantial, and even amended the public diary for top school officials. The press list for their events was also tightly controlled and restricted to Harry's wife-friendly publications, the supine publications, i.e. Vogue, etc., while British tabloids were banned. Assertion of control, nullification of threat to control. The email shows students and faculty at the Harlem Elementary School were even asked to sign consent forms for filming that also banned them from discussing the project or making negative comments about the famous couple who were visiting, nullification of threat to control. Harry and Harry's wife's trip to New York in September 2021 was designed to showcase them as world leaders, as it included a stop at the United Nations to talk about vaccine equity. Their itinerary included a speaking appearance at the Global Citizen Festival in Central Park, where they were constantly tailed by a camera crew for their 6-part shitflick series, Harry and Harry's Wife, which premiered last December. According to the correspondence, event planning started 6 months earlier in April 2021 and was spearheaded by Toya Holness, one of the Sussex's PR staff who worked previously at the New York City Department of Education. On the second day of the trip, the former royals made an under-the-radar visit to PS 123 in Harlem, where Harry's wife bored the children with her new children's book, The Bench of Stench. The inner-city school has a 91% black and Hispanic student population, 95% of which qualify for free or reduced-price lunches due to their low-income backgrounds. But when the Duchess appeared at the school on September the 24th, 2021, she arrived wearing a $5,840 Loro Piana cashmere coat and matching $1,680 pants, known as the Bouncing Berry of Harlem, also demonstrating her lack of emotional empathy by wearing expensive clothing when attending the school. She accessorized her look with around $387,000 worth of jewelry, including her $350,000 engagement ring, a $4,500 diamond ring from her first public engagement with Harry as his fiancée, Princess Diana's $23,000 Cartier tank watch, and a $6,900 Cartier love bracelet from Trevor, and a $3,000 Jennifer Mayer tennis bracelet. According to the emails, 3 days prior to the couple's arrival, Archwell representatives contacted the New York City Department of Education with a location and appearance release form for filming and asked them to run it by their lawyers. The papers, which granted the Sussex's film crew permission to capture archival content of Archwell events for future use, included a confidentiality clause that banned students and teachers from discussing or making negative statements about the project. It read in part, "I agree that without the prior written approval of the producer, I shall not discuss this appearance release, the material, the project itself, or my participation therein, with any third party prior to the initial exhibition of the episode of the project in which I appear." The release banned those who signed it from posting on social media, now or in the future, about the filming. The document stated, "I agree not to make negative, derogatory, or otherwise unfavourable statements about or otherwise denigrate or disparage any of the released parties." When NYC school officials asked about what the footage was for, Holness was vague. She said that the documentary crew were capturing archival content for future use, including potential digital production projects. Now, of course, staff are going to be somewhat concerned about that. You're filming children, and it raises a safeguarding issue. Danielle Filson, the NYC school's press secretary, warned the Archwell team that the children can't be featured in any material that is promotional. Chanel Pisnick, head of unscripted content at Archwell, gave another vague answer that the content could be used in a future documentary, but was not intended to be promotional in nature. Well, of course it was. It was promoting the Sussexes. The final email in the chain, sent 2 days before Harry and Harry's wife visited the school, was from Pisnick and asked for the best way to get the release agreed to and signed. Other emails show that Archwell and representatives from Penguin Random House, which published The Bench, debated extensively over the minutiae of the school event. Dominique Simina, a publicist with the publisher, wrote, "My team is looking into all things, carpets, cushions, decor, etc., more to come." Video of the event showed Harry's wife sitting under a tent in the school playground on a soft blue box with the pupils, and Harry sitting on a green mat and green cushions. The two sides emailed over the language of the Department of Education press release, with Filson taking out the entire paragraph about the bench. Holness replied, "I like all your edits except the bench section. If you take out all the info about the book, I think it's weird to only have her bio and not his," apparently referring to Harry. In a telling response, Filson replied, "Yes, totally. Just wanted to make it a bit less promotion-y." Holness objected to the phrase read aloud for use in the public schedule for New York schools, Chancellor Meisha Porter, the most senior official in the department. She wrote, "Can we make the description sound more substantial than a read aloud? Something about community support of the arts, please?" Filson replied, "Yes." A representative from Penguin Random House appears to have changed a line in their own press release, stating that Harry's wife was donating reading nooks to 5 schools in New York, replacing 5 with many to make it seem like a larger number. A new release from the publisher was amended to say that Archwell worked with Procter & Gamble to provide free personal health and hygiene products for the school, rather than just the consumer product giant providing the items. Once again, Harry's wife piggybacking the work of other people. The list of journalists attending was tightly controlled and included friendly, left-wing outlets, including the Huffington Post, New York Magazine, which later did a flattering profile of Harry's wife, the New York Times, and Oprah Daily. When Holness mentioned that Vogue might come, they were included on the final list. Such control over the media was even more apparent during Harry and Harry's wife's first stop on their trip, One World Trade Center in Manhattan. The couple visited the top of the tower, where they were met by then New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, his wife, and New York Governor Kathy Hochul. But behind the scenes, Holness was once again pulling the strings, this time to bar British newspapers that Harry and Harry's wife don't like. Nullification of threat to control. The day before the couple arrived in New York, she wrote, "Just one flag. Under no circumstances should we let in folks from the 4 UK tabloids, Daily Mail, Sun, Mirror and Express. Thanks." Among those in the email chain who did not raise concerns was Bill Neidhardt, Mr. de Blasio's press secretary at the time, and Kate Smart, Governor Hochul's deputy press secretary. On the day of the event, a DailyMail.com journalist who tried to attend was told they were denied entry because they had not confirmed their attendance the night before. That claim appears at odds with the request by Holness in the emails. Accordingly, it demonstrates the necessity of the manufacture of a particular scene, the nullification of threats to control, but overall the exploitation of children for the purposes of Harry's wife's prime aims. It's unsurprising that she behaves in such a way through Archwell, because, of course, her narcissism drives it. It also demonstrates this. As we all know, there is no substance to Harry's wife. It's all about image. It's all about making her appear in a particular way because there is no substance behind it. What do people below the line think about this conduct? Well, Hash writes, pretentious couple. Grove of the Ancients, these two are beyond disgusting. Jane 8-2, essentially they are as fake as a 40 note. A Scorpio, wow, this is shocking. I'm from Kenya, and we have a lot of politicians, royalty, celebrities, and philanthropists from across the world that come to underprivileged schools to see and help the children. I have never seen anything like this prior to their visits, especially the demands and non-disclosure requirements. The most we get is logistics and safety if it will be a big visit. This was never about the children. All they gave was 2 baskets of vegetables, and P&G donated the rest. This was a PR event for the Sussexes, with underprivileged children as their backdrop. Indeed. This is what Harry's wife does best. Exploitation of others and self-promotion, with Harry wandering around in the background, behaving as if she's an A-list celebrity, asserting control over people by telling them who should be there, how it should be arranged, how people should be able to speak, nullifying threats to control by silencing the staff and the children, and then drinking in the fuel by way of response. Fake, manufactured, superficial. It is what is to be expected from a narcissist such as Harry's wife. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.